I'm going to be showing you guys how I use Canva as a content creator for my Twitch and my YouTube. Today I'm specifically going to be showing how I make my Twitch overlays, and I'm really excited to jump right in, so let's go ahead and get started with this cozy Twitch overlay making session. The first thing you're going to want to do when you get on Canva is you're going to want to do a quick search in the search bar for Twitch overlay. And then you're going to want to find the one that fits your vibe the most. So for instance, I was trying to make a cozy overlay this time. So I found this cozy overlay that I thought looked pretty darn cute. And then you're going to want to start customizing. When you start designing your overlay, you may already have a mental image in mind of kind of what you're looking for, or you may have an aesthetic or vibe you're going for. Even if you have a very clear mental image of what you want your Canva overlay to look like when you're finished, sometimes it can still be hard to get to that finished product. So I've collected my best hacks, tips, and tricks in this video so I can share them with you guys and hopefully help you create the overlay of your dreams. So my first tip, trick, and hack for you guys is look at the overlay that you selected and consider what you want to change about it. For instance, I knew right away that I liked the leaf elements of this overlay, and I liked the cottagecore vibe of some of the other ones, but I didn't like the graphics themselves. So I knew a good idea of what I wanted going into it, and then I also noticed that I liked the background behind where the game screen goes better than I did the background everywhere else. So I managed to get everything matching to that color. Another thing I really liked about this overlay was the kind of barky looking elements where you put like your name and etc. I really liked the way that those looked. I did try to change them out for some slightly more barky looking things, but I didn't really like those elements, and I ended up going back to the original overlay elements and just changing the colors because I felt like those were probably the best ones. But I had to play around with it for quite a bit to get it to the way that I wanted, which I'm sure you will also have to do. It does take quite a while to get your overlays or anything that you make in Canva to look exactly the way that you were imagining it, so don't get frustrated if it doesn't turn out the way you want it on the first try. Most of the time it takes me several tries to get it looking the way that I want, and that's okay. Sometimes it just takes a while. The next thing I want to share some tips and tricks on is the Elements tab. My first tip and trick for this section may be a little understated, but I really think it is a game changer, or at least it was for me when I figured it out, and that is to search properly for your elements. So what I mean by that is don't be afraid to get a little bit descriptive with your search. So for instance, I wanted some cute little mushrooms to line the bottom of this overlay, and I wanted them to be in a very specific art style, and I wanted them to be very cottagecore in their nature. So when I went to search for my mushrooms, instead of just putting in mushroom and seeing what came up and having to scroll through all of them, I put in cottagecore mushroom. The hack I'm about to share with you guys is arguably my favorite Canva hack that I've learned to date because it really did change how I made my Canva designs. So when you find an element that you like, you can occasionally right click on it and hit the see more like this or the see more in this collection. And what that does is it shows you everything that's by that artist that they've made, or everything that's by that artist they've made that's put in that collection alongside the item that you already found and liked. So that means that it's easier for you to find matching elements that are in the same art style or have the same aesthetic or vibe. Personally, this is a major game changer for me, and I hope that it really does help you guys out with searching for elements that match. The next hack that I have for Canva is one that I learned really late in the game, and if I had learned earlier on, it would have definitely made some of the designs that I've made a lot easier to do. And that is when you hold Control down on your keyboard while you're placing an element, it's basically like alt placing in The Sims. So if you don't know what I'm referring to, there is a grid in Canva that's like a natural grid placement, and all of your elements kind of snap to those spots automatically. So if you're trying to find, say, the middle of your design so you can place your graphic in the middle and make sure everything looks good, then this grid is going to be super useful for that. But the grid snapping is not so useful when you're trying to place things like a little bit more randomly, or you have a very specific spot that maybe you want some sparkles to go in, but it keeps snapping to like the grid in like a really weird way. Control is really useful for that, and it does help give you a bit more control over placing your elements on your design. pun intended. Speaking of things on your keyboard actually interacting with your Canva design, there are some other keys that have some interesting keybinds with Canva designs as well. So for one, if you're looking for a line but you don't want to have to go to the Elements tab and search one up, you can always just press L on your keyboard, which automatically places a line onto your design. You can also similarly do this with some other shapes, so S for square, R for rectangle, I think O for oval also works. I think I've done C for circle, and so on and so on. I will say that T does work for text and not triangle, so that is one thing to be aware of if you're using keybinds on your keyboard to bring up different shapes in Canva. The next hack I want to share with you guys is a really quick one, but it is really useful, and that is the Positions tab. So when you click on it, you can use it to move elements forward or backward on the design, but the Layering tab, which is under the Positions tab itself, is really useful, and personally I like it a lot better than the Positions myself because you get a visual of where things are. So for instance, if you want to layer something and you have 3 elements and you have a very particular order you want them to go in, you can use this tab to layer them all properly without having to go in and individually click on each of them and try to do it yourself. So on the Layering tab, let's say that you have a couple elements and you want to layer them based off of their colors. So let's say that you're using 3 different colors of hearts, and you want the green heart to be in the back, you want the yellow heart to be next, and then the red heart to be on top of all of them. What you would want to do is have the red heart at the top of the Layering tab, and then the yellow one, and then the green one, because the way that Canva works in the Layering tab is whatever is on top is in the front of the design, which is something that honestly I didn't really realize until I was trying to make a really detailed design, and I realized that the Positions tab just wasn't cutting it. Okay, now this is looking pretty good, but I think one thing I'd like to do is change out this text because I'm not a big fan of it. I would like to look for something that is a headings and is quite bold, so I'm going to select that. So after a bit of searching, I think that the Genty Sands is actually the best text for what I'm going for, and I'm just going to have to readjust the box just a tiny bit to fit in here like it was before. And the only other thing that I think I need on this overlay is a few more elements, so I'm just going to go looking for a few really fast, and I think I'm going to look for some cottagecore themed mushrooms and other things that are just kind of giving that cozy energy that I'm really going for with this overlay. Okay, so after playing around a lot with it off camera, I finally found something that I'm pretty sure I am happy with, and this is the official final product. I might have to end up changing some things in the future about it, but I'm pretty sure this is exactly what I wanted. It is very cute. I love all the cottagecore energy I was able to put into it, and I really loved the little squirrel. I think that was a very adorable last minute addition, and I did want to duplicate the page and show you guys what it would look like without a webcam, just in case you guys don't use a webcam while you're streaming, and also so I would have an overlay for when I don't stream with a webcam, because I don't always stream with one, and I wanted to make sure that I could use this overlay when I am streaming with one and when I'm not. Obviously the webcam frame part right here does look a little bit weird without the full setup. I'm not a big fan of the way that that rounded end piece looks, but I think that's the best honestly I could do with that little section to make it look the way that I wanted. I might add a few more things to this panel in the future, but I just wanted to give you guys a base look of what this one would look like without the webcam in it. And yeah, that is it for this video. If you guys have enjoyed, do let me know. I have a lot more Canva how-tos that I can make in the future, and if you guys want a video explaining how to install this in an easy, quick way to your stream elements and your OBS, then let me know, because I'd be willing to do that as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.